What if I told you that the reason you feel this pull left that is standing somewhere far away, watching. This discomfort is not social anxiety, though it may be mistaken for it. Social anxiety is rooted in fear of judgment, fear of being seen as inadequate. What I am describing is different. It is not about what others think of you. It is about what the noise does to you. It is about the way that constant stimulation, constant interaction, constant performance pulls you away from yourself. And your psyche, having spent years accommodating this, has decided it will no longer participate. You may remember a time when you enjoyed these gatherings, when you felt energized by conversation, by the exchange of ideas, by the presence of others. And now, that energy is gone. You may wonder if something is wrong with you. You may feel guilty. You may try to force yourself to engage. You may feel guilt about this. You may apologize. You may tell yourself that you should be more social, more available, more like other people. But the truth is, you are not avoiding connection. You are protecting something fragile, something that is just beginning to emerge. And that something needs silence. It needs solitude. It needs space to breathe. There is a second sign, closely related but distinct. You begin to lose interest in things that used to matter to you. Not all things. Not everything, but certain activities, certain goals, certain ambitions that once drove you forward now feel hollow. You may have worked toward a particular career, a particular image, a particular version of success, and now, when you look at it, you feel nothing. Or worse, you feel a kind of dread, a sense that if you continue on this path, you will lose something you cannot afford to lose. This is not depression, though it may feel like it. Depression is a flattening of all feeling, a loss of vitality across the board. What I am describing is more specific. It is a loss of investment in the external, in the symbols of success and achievement that the world values. And this loss is not a failure. It is a reorientation. Your psyche is withdrawing energy from the outer world because it needs that energy for something else. It needs it for the work of becoming whole. Jung called this process individuation. It is the movement toward the self, the deeper center of the personality that exists beyond the ego, beyond the roles and identities we adopt. And individuation always begins with a withdrawal. It begins with a loss of interest in the collective values, the shared narratives, the common goals. It begins when you stop caring about what you're supposed to want and start feeling top of the old one. You have to let the old one fall apart first. There is a third sign, and it is perhaps the most subtle. You begin to notice the quality of silence. Not just the absence of noise, but the presence of something else, something that exists in the quiet. You may find yourself sitting alone in a room, doing nothing, and instead of feeling bored or restless, you feel a kind of peace, a kind of relief, as if you have been holding your breath for years and are only now beginning to exhale. This is not emptiness. This is spaciousness. And spaciousness is what the psyche needs in order to speak. When your life is filled with noise, with constant input, with endless tasks and obligations and distractions, there is no room for the unconscious to communicate. The messages are sent, but they cannot be received. The dreams are dreamed, but they are forgotten. The intuitions arise, but they are drowned out by the chatter of the mind. But when you create space, when you allow silence to enter your life, something shifts. You begin to notice things you did not notice before. You begin to feel things you did not feel before. You begin to sense that there is an intelligence at work inside you, an intelligence that is not your conscious mind, not your ego, but something older, something wiser, something that has been waiting for you to stop long enough to listen. You may begin to notice synchronicities, small coincidences that feel meaningful. You think of someone and they call. You need guidance, and a book falls open to the right page. You ask a question internally, and the answer appears in the world, not as magic, but as alignment. Jung spoke of synchronicity as psyche is pulling you toward simplicity, not because simplicity is better in some moral sense, but because simplicity creates the conditions for awareness. It creates the conditions for presence. It creates the conditions for you to hear what has been trying to reach you all along. You may also notice that you're drawn to different kinds of activities. You no longer want to fill your time with productivity, with achievement, with doing. You want to walk. You want to sit. You want to watch the light change. You want to feel the air on your skin. You want to do things that have no purpose, no outcome, no product. And this is not laziness. This is a return to being. This is a recognition that you're not a machine, not a tool, not a means to an end. You are a living being, and living beings need time to simply exist, to simply be present, to simply feel alive. There is a fourth sign, and it involves your relationship with information. You may have noticed that you no longer want to consume as much content as you used to. You no longer want to read every article, watch every video, stay updated on every trend. You may have once felt a kind of anxiety about missing out, about not knowing, about being left behind. But now, that anxiety has been replaced by something else, a kind of indifference, a sense that most of what is being said, most of what is being shared, most of what is being produced is not for you. It is not speaking to the part of you that is awake. It is speaking to the part of you that is asleep, the part that is distracted, the part that is afraid. This is not ignorance. This is discernment. You are learning to distinguish between what nourishes you and what depletes you. You are learning to recognize that not all information is valuable. Not all knowledge is wisdom. Not all communication is connection. Most of it is noise. Most of it is distraction. Most of it is designed to keep you on the surface, to keep you engaged, to keep you consuming, to keep you from going deep. And your psyche, having reached a threshold, is no longer willing to participate. It is no longer willing to give its attention to what does not matter. It is no longer willing to be pulled in 1,000 directions. It wants to go in one direction, inward, downward, deeper. You may find that you are drawn to older things, to books that were written long ago, to ideas that have lasted, to wisdom that has been tested by time. You may find that you're less interested in what is new and more interested in what is true. You may find that you're less interested in opinions and more interested in experience. You may find that you're less interested in being informed and more interested in being transformed. This shift is not about rejecting the world. It is about reclaiming your attention. It is about recognizing that your attention is not infinite, that it is precious, that it is the most valuable resource you have. And for too long, you have been giving it away to algorithms, to advertisers, to people who do not care about you, to systems that profit from your distraction. And now, something in you is saying, no more. I'm taking it back. I'm giving it to what matters. Confused, that you do not have it all figured out. And this admission, this honesty, is not weakness. It is the beginning of integrity. For so long, you may have lived with a split between who you are and who you pretend to be, a split between what you feel and what you express, a split between your inner world and your outer world. And this split is exhausting. It requires constant effort. It requires constant vigilance. It requires you to monitor yourself, to edit yourself, to make sure that what you show to the world is acceptable, is appropriate, is safe. But now, that split is beginning to close. Not because you have become reckless or careless, but because you have become tired of the cost. You have realized that the energy it takes to maintain the persona, to keep up the image, to hide what is real, is energy you no longer have. And so you are letting it go. You are letting yourself be seen, even if only by yourself. You are letting yourself be honest, even if only in the privacy of your own mind. This honesty is the foundation of simplicity, because simplicity is not just about having fewer things or fewer commitments. It is about having fewer lies, fewer pretenses, fewer masks. It is about living in a way that is aligned with what is true, even if what is true is uncomfortable, even if what is true is not what others want to hear. You may find that you are saying no more often, not out of anger or resentment, but out of clarity. You are saying no to invitations that do not serve you. You are saying no to obligations that drain you. You are saying no to relationships that require you to be someone you are not. And each time you say no, you are saying yes to something else. You are saying yes to your own energy. You are saying yes to your own time. You are saying yes to your own life. There is a sixth sign, and it is about the body. You may have noticed that your body is speaking to you more clearly. It is telling you when it is tired, when it is hungry, when it needs rest, when it needs movement, and you are beginning to listen. For so long, you may have overridden these signals. You push through fatigue. You ignore hunger. You force yourself to keep going when your body was asking you to stop. You treated your body as a machine, as something to be managed, as something to be controlled. But now, something has shifted. You are beginning to recognize that your body is not separate from you. It is not a vehicle you inhabit. It is you, and it has wisdom. It knows things your mind does not know. It feels things your mind cannot feel. And when you listen to it, when you honor its needs, when you respect its limits, you are not being weak. You are being wise. This is part of the movement towards simplicity, because when you listen to your body, you naturally simplify your life. You stop doing things that harm you. You stop pushing yourself beyond your capacity. You stop living in a way that is unsustainable. You start to eat when you are hungry. You start to sleep when you are tired. You start to move when you need to move and rest when you need to rest. And this may sound simple, even obvious, but for many people, it is revolutionary. We live in a culture that teaches us to ignore the body, to override its signals, to push through pain and exhaustion in the name of productivity, in the name of success, in the name of proving ourselves. And this way of living is not sustainable. It leads to burnout. It leads to illness. It leads to a profound disconnection from the self. And your psyche, recognizing this, is pulling you back. It is asking you to slow down. It is asking you to listen. It is asking you to honor the body as a source of wisdom, not as an obstacle to be overcome. You may also notice that you are drawn to practices that ground you in the body. Yoga, walking, stretching, breathing, not as tasks to be completed, but as ways of coming home to yourself, as ways of feeling what it is like to be alive, to be present, to be here. And these practices do not need to be complicated. They do not need to be perfect. They just need to be real. There is a seventh sign, and it involves your relationship with time. You may have noticed that you are less interested in speed, in efficiency, in getting things done quickly. You are more interested in doing things well, in doing things with care, in doing things in a way that feels right. You may find that you are taking longer to complete tasks, not because you are slow, but because you are present. You are paying attention. You are not rushing. You are not multitasking. You're doing one thing at a time, and you're doing it fully. This is a radical act in a culture that values speed above all else. We are taught that faster is better, that more is better, that efficiency is the highest virtue. But efficiency is not the same as meaning. Speed is not the same as depth. And your psyche, having lived for too long in a state of constant acceleration, is asking you to slow down. It is asking you to take your time. It is asking you to remember that life is not a race, that there is no finish line, that the point is not to get somewhere as quickly as possible, but to be fully present where you are. You may find that you're more patient, not in a forced way, but in a natural way. You are willing to wait. You are willing to let things unfold in their own time. You are willing to trust that what needs to happen will happen, and that your job is not to force it, not to control it, but to be present for it. This patience is not passivity. It is a deep trust in the process, a recognition that there's an intelligence at work that is larger than your conscious will, and that when you align with that intelligence, things happen more easily, more naturally, more beautifully than when you try to force them. There is an eighth sign, and it is about relationships. You may have noticed that you are less interested in shallow connections and more interested in deep ones. You no longer want to spend time with people just to fill the silence, just to avoid being alone, just to maintain appearances. You want to spend time with people who see you, who understand you, who do not require you to perform. And if those people are not available, you would rather be alone. This is not antisocial. This is selective. You are recognizing that your energy is limited, that your time is limited, that your capacity for connection is limited, and that you want to give that energy, that time, that capacity to people who matter, to people who nourish you, to people who meet you at the level of depth you are now inhabiting. You may find that some relationships fall away, not because of conflict, not because of betrayal, but because they were built on a version of you that no longer exists. And this can be painful. It can feel like loss, but it is also liberation. Because every relationship that falls away creates space for something new, for a deeper connection, for a truer friendship, for a and solitude and space, do not pathologize it. Do not see it as a problem to be fixed. See it as a signal. See it as a message from the deeper parts of yourself that are ready to be heard. See it as an invitation to stop, to slow down, to turn inward, to listen. You do not need to do anything dramatic. You do not need to quit your job, leave your relationships, move to the mountains. You simply need to create space. A little space each day. A few minutes of silence. A walk without your phone. A moment of stillness before you go to sleep. A breath before you respond. These small acts of simplicity, these small moments of presence, are enough. They create a crack in the noise. And through that crack, something else can enter. Something real. Something true. Something that has been waiting for you all along. You may find it helpful to write. Not to produce anything. Not to share anything. But simply to give your inner world a place to speak. Write without editing. Write without judgment. Write whatever comes, even if it makes no sense, even if it is messy, even if it is painful. Let the words flow. Let them reveal what is hidden. Let them show you what you did not know you knew. You may also find it helpful to sit in silence. Not to meditate in any formal way, not to achieve any particular state, but simply to be. To sit with yourself. Something in these words that resonated, something that helped you see your own experience more clearly. I invite you to like this video, to subscribe to this channel, to share your reflections in the comments. Not because I need your engagement, but because the act of sharing, the act of naming what is true, is part of the process. It is part of the way we move from isolation to connection, from confusion to clarity, from noise to silence. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for trusting the quiet voice inside you that led you to this moment.